life is gonna break you. And sometimes life is gonna break you so bad, you will question how you're gonna find the energy to get up. But what makes us powerful as human beings is not the fact that we're unbreakable, but the fact that we can take those broken pieces and mend it back. We all know the phrase, boys don't cry. But why? And why do women lose interest when we do actually cry? Or if we cannot cry, then why in every interview and panel discussion, women say the exact opposite? But first things first, why boys don't cry? Imagine like this. You are in a safari and you have a tour guide with you and he has a rifle just in case. You left the jeep, just walk in the savannah. You're not hunting. Just nothing evil, just observing. And then you see a lion coming at you, 200 yards away. And the jeep is too far away. So there's no way you're gonna run back to the jeep in time. And then you look at your tour guide, the one with the rifle, and he's stuck. You cannot do anything. You shake him, you try to wake him up. No, he just looks at the line like this. He's just stuck. You cannot take action. And then lion comes at you, 100 yards, 90 yards, 80 yards, 70 yards. Something miraculous happens. Lion comes, 25, 30 yards, and it stops. It doesn't do anything, just looks at you, realizes you're not a threat, and goes back again. You're safe. But would you choose that tour guide again? Even though nobody got harmed, no one got hurt, you wouldn't choose him. Because in the moment of chaos, in the moment of danger, the person you have assigned to protect you didn't take the action to do so. As a man, we are evolved biologically and conditioned culturally to protect women, other men, and children. In the case of avoidable suffering and burden of life, men have to take action to protect the people that are needed to be protected. That's why men cannot be stuck when there's an action to be taken. Imagine people are sword fighting in medieval times. No one's gonna cry in the middle of that sword fight because that's the time of action. Even the modern fighters right now, the warriors, they do have that emotional breakdown or crying after they come back home, like in the form of PTSD, or when they go to the base, or when they're in this semi-covered or covered area, they have this emotional breakdown. Because when they're in the middle of that fighting, there's no time to cry, there's no time to get stuck, there's no time to even think of your emotions. So you have to take the action. That's why, for example, in funerals, it's okay for men to cry because there's no action to take. Death is unavoidable and it happens. You cannot take it back. There's nothing to do. Same thing with when your partner or when a loved one diagnosed with a terminal disease. There is nothing you can do about it. You're not a medical doctor, or even if you are, you're not in the middle of the surgery. You're not a person that is capable to stop pain, suffering of others at that moment. And this is exactly why women lose interest with the guy that cries. Because that guy is a safari guy. And you might say, well, but I cried just because I couldn't pay the bills. It's not like a lion attacked me. But here's the thing. We all know life is suffering. Now we have created this miraculous infrastructure and this society that we don't see the burden of reality that much. But there are still people die of famine from drought, lack of fresh water, and all sort of diseases and wars and slavery. It's still there. And now we don't feel like that in modern life, but our neurological system is always understands that life in itself is suffering. Like that's the first principle of Buddhism, right? Life is suffering. That's in itself contains so much pain and suffering that we all know that when a person needed to do something, didn't do it, then when things go worse, they're not going to be able to do that because the first time when the threat was smaller, they didn't take the action. So it's not about crying itself, it's your inability to take the action. Having said that, why women say the opposite things in interviews and panel discussions? I believe it's a huge miscommunication. When we talk about men's vulnerability, men weakness, emotional intelligence, men should be in touch with their feelings, we're talking about very related yet different things. And let's be honest, even me, we are not very articulate people. So when we talk about these things, we just talk about it like they're the same thing. But being vulnerable doesn't mean you're weak. And being not weak doesn't mean you will not cry. Of course, if you're weaker, you will be more vulnerable. But even the strongest people are vulnerable. No one is invulnerable. Like life is gonna break you. And sometimes life is gonna break you so bad, you will question how you're gonna find the energy to get up. But what makes us powerful as human beings is not the fact that we're unbreakable, but the fact that we can take those broken pieces and mend it back. Hemingway said it beautifully. World breaks everyone equally, but many are strong at broken places. That's what the Japanese art kintsugi is. A broken pottery mended back with gold makes it even more beautiful than its pristine form. All of our favorite heroes fails emotionally or physically and got broken but still gets up, because the greatest warrior is not the one that is wearing the impenetrable armor, but the one who's in the middle of a battlefield fighting, full of cuts, wounds and bruises. So it's okay for you to be vulnerable because it's inevitable. Just don't be weak. And when there is an action to be taken, I hope you will find the courage and strength to take it.